already standing in there. No nonsense. Let us get it on. Hart's got to make a grand entrance with Kevin Sullivan in this whole thing. Okay, Dave, we'll get the official introductions and also have a little story to tell about this particular match in there.
All right, this is a TV title match. The television title on the line. One fall, 15-minute time limit. The challenger from Boston, Massachusetts, 220 pounds with his manager, Jimmy Hart, Kevin Sullivan. The champion, 224 pounds from Oil Trough, Texas, Dutch Mantell. One fall, 15-minute time limit. The TV title on the line.
Well, I'll tell you, this is going to be a whaler, too, man. Kevin Sullivan, Dutch Mantell, Jimmy Hart up there, and, of course, obviously Sullivan's corner. Sullivan giving it the big pose and showing off all the big muscles. I think we are ready for action. Here we go. Story as they're getting started, Dave, I want to tell is Hart, of course, you know and everybody knows that Mantell just walked away from Hart. He hasn't spoken to Hart since that time. It's really gotten to him. Hart has been making all this static about the fact that Mantell, since he won the title, has not defended against anybody except a mismatch. Now, this is not to put Vinny Romeo down. You remember we had a match here with Dutch and Vinny. Vinny, a good young fellow, but obviously doesn't have the experience that Mantell does. Hart finally got what he wanted. He bagged him into a match here with Kevin Sullivan because Dutch made it very clear he wasn't afraid to take anybody on. Bring him on. He'd defend it, and that's what he's got today. Should be a great match.
That's where we are, in the middle of it. TV title on the line, and we are now about 50 seconds into the action. Kevin Sullivan dropped Mantell down to the mat, hair pulling. Yes, sir.
Sullivan showing how smart he was. He's pointing to the wrong thing. He should have been pointing to his hair because that's just, again, that's what he's doing, grabbing Mantell by the hair. He's monkeying with the wrong guy because, remember, Dirty Dutch knows all there is to know about that sort of thing, too.
Yes, sir. Many of them he has made frequent use of himself in times past. Dutch Mantell round behind him. Dutch puts Sullivan down to the mat. Quick cover at a count of one. Sullivan breaks out of it. Sullivan screaming about his hair. Dutch Mantell not pulling his hair. He's using that upper arm. Sullivan has Dutch's arm hooked. Shoulders are up. Dutch bridges with his feet and the top of his head. Keeps the shoulders up off the mat.
Boy, that's difficult, too, to sustain that when a guy's laying on top of you like that, or at least partially the way Sullivan is. Sullivan putting heat on the chin, too, Davey.
Referee Jerry Calhoun right there. Well, shoulders down. Briefly, a one count. Dutch literally trying to shake him. Trying to break that right arm free.
Look at the muscles on this Sullivan, man. He bulges everywhere.
Whoa. Open hand by Sullivan. It was legal, but a mistake nonetheless. And Mantell came off of that mat, ran Sullivan out of the ring. Now Sullivan and Jimmy Hart get together, and they're all smiles. Oh, did you see what I did to it, Jim?
Yeah, of course, that's all part of the Hart-Sullivan strategy, Dave, is the fact that if they can make a guy mad, he may lose his cool and thereby set in problems for the opponent.
I think they have made him mad, all right. No doubt about that. Sullivan comes out of the ring. Dutch Mantell trying to get at him.
Hart got what he wanted, and that was a title match for Sullivan. He may not be too happy that he got a match with Mantell.
All right, referee Jerry Calhoun telling both of them, keep the fist open, no more fists. We're coming up on the 4-minute mark. 4 minutes gone. Oh, big broad arm by Dutch Mantell. Sullivan in the air. The knee drop. A cover by Dutch. Count is one, only one. Shoulder up off the mat by Sullivan. Right shoulder came up at the 1 count. Dutch Mantell has Sullivan pretty well tied up now. Got both his arms pinned. Over in a corner. Referee wants him out of the corner. Calhoun's telling him, hey, let's have a little more wrestling, a little less punching going in there.
He's also trying to tell him about when they get on the ropes, let's have a break and don't start all that fighting in there, which Sullivan is the one that started it. Hart staying on referee Jerry Calhoun about the illegal tactics of Mantell. Has a strange way of overlooking anything Sullivan does.
Yeah. 5 minutes gone.
5 minutes down, 10 to go in this championship match.
Hart up out of his chair complaining. Dutch Mantell, he thought about some hair pulling there, but thought better of it just about the time the referee was warning him of the same thing. A couple of strong guys. Sullivan off the rope, shoulder butt. Dutch Mantell hits the mat. He sets himself, picks Sullivan up, body slams him. Dutch to the rope. Shoulders down. Sullivan gets the 1 count on himself, and then he breaks out of it. Yanks Dutch Mantell down to the mat, and he's got a face lock on him.
I didn't see how Sullivan broke it. It looked like the way Dutch's head snapped, Dave, that he might have grabbed that hair again. I just really couldn't tell.
Couldn't see for sure from this angle, but certainly we suspect that.
Dutch got a hold of Sullivan's hair, and the referee's saying, get your hand out, get your hand out.
Sullivan, boy, hanging on. Now he breaks the hold, fires the forearm, body slams. Mantell out of the way as Sullivan was going to follow through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hair pulling. That's the way Sullivan broke out of it that time, as Mantell had those shoulders down. Mantell reached up, grabbed a big handful of hair, and suddenly his shoulder's no longer down. Mantell about to do the same thing, but the referee stopped it. Mantell again grabs Sullivan's hair. That was a fist. Kevin Sullivan, right fist doubles. Sullivan really attacking Dutch Mantell back in the corner. Dutch out on the apron. Rolls down onto the floor. Sullivan steps out of the ring, coming after him. Dutch's head popped into the apron. Ooh, Dutch rammed into the ring post. Look out. Into the table. Kevin Sullivan now heads back to the ring. Dutch Mantell down here on the floor. He starts back to the apron. Nailed by Sullivan with a boot. Kevin Sullivan using the fist. We're 8 minutes into the action. 8 minutes gone, 7 minutes left to wrestle in this championship match.
Sullivan's a good candidate for disqualification, but knowing Dutch, the kind of guy he is, he'd rather handle it himself than let the rules or let something else handle it. Uh-oh.
Buggy whipped into the turnbuckles, dropped to the mat, a cover by Sullivan. Count of 2 on Dutch Mantell, but he breaks it. Sullivan whipping Mantell into the rope. Oh, drops him into the corner, into the turnbuckles.
Well, this Sullivan is strong.
Woo. Face lock again by Kevin Sullivan.
Hart giving referee Jerry Calhoun a hard way to go as Sullivan hanging on to that reverse face lock. I thought he was going to backdrop Dutch, and he just grabbed him in midair as he was going up, hooked him in, and slammed his back into the turnbuckle.
9 minutes, 15 seconds gone in this championship match. TV title on the line. Dutch Mantell defending. Sullivan, wow. He unloaded with a right hand. Mantell into the rope. Sullivan winds up, fires that right fist, covers. 1, 2. Mantell breaks it just before the count of 3.
No doubt, Sullivan's on a roll, as they say. He's really got it going for him.
A cover again by Sullivan. Mantell again breaks it at 2. 10 minutes gone. 10 minutes gone with 5 minutes left to wrestle.
5 minutes to wrestle.
Dutch.
Dutchman coming back.
Gets the knee drop on Kevin Sullivan. Oh, he was going to drop down with the arm. Sullivan moves. A headbutt by Kevin Sullivan. Dutch Mantell back into the rope. Sullivan staggers back into the ropes, but comes back with a right hand. Dutch rolls it down. 1. Down to 1 is all he can get. Sullivan did not want to go down off his feet. Shows you some of the strength of his legs. A press down by Dutch Mantell. A 2 count. Sullivan jabs that right hand, point of the fingers into Dutch's throat. Dutch slammed across the ring. Sullivan monkey flips him out of the corner. 11 minutes gone.
4 minutes to wrestle, 4 minutes to go, and we're coming down to the end of this championship.
Oh, Mantell swinging back. Mantell choking him, using his tights, the shoulder strap.
Just sit down, Jimmy. He's moaning about what Mantell's doing. I don't condone what Dutch is doing, but he got sick of Sullivan's stuff.
Sullivan started out. Mantell grabbed him, pulls him right back to center of the ring. Again, Sullivan starts out of the ring, and Mantell grabs him. Look out, Jimmy Hart's up on the apron. Mantell knocks him down to the floor. Sullivan rolls Dutch down. Count him. 3. All right.
What a lousy break. Jimmy Hart up on the edge. Yeah, you won it. What's Hart doing up on a ring? Jimmy Hart complaining about Mantell, about Dutch using hair and that kind of stuff after everything that Sullivan did. Dutch trying to talk to the referee and say, hey, what's Hart doing up on the ring up in there? And we told you Sullivan was a candidate for disqualification. Lousy break in there, Dutch. Boy, I'll tell you. So the new TV champ is going to be Kevin Sullivan.
Let me say one thing. I don't know why it comes through when Hart wants to sacrifice his body to win a match for his men. I'm going to say one thing. Nobody ever gave me nothing. I'm not out here crying, because to me, this is when it gets good. Because they chased me, and if they want to let Kevin Sullivan have the TV title, that's okay with me, too. But now I'm going to do the chasing Sullivan, and I might have lost one battle, but I ain't lost the war. And mark my words, Hart, Sullivan, and anybody else, the Dutchman's coming back, and I'm coming your way. Mark my words. I'll be back.
Boy, a dead-level serious former champion right now, Dutch Mantell. Lousy break. What happened was Hart was screaming, trying to get the referee's attention. He jumped up on the ring apron. About that time, Sullivan kneed him, shook him loose, threw him in. Mantell hit Hart head on. Boom. Knocked Hart right down on the floor.
Yeah.
And before Dutch could recover in there, Sullivan is right in behind him, rolled him up, and got a 1-2-3 on him, and we have a new champion. And what was the time?
Time was 12 minutes, 3 seconds.